Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Weight Loss with the Hodgsons. Today, we are both so excited to introduce our guest. Not only is she helping women across the globe find that it's important to feel good both physically and emotionally, she's also a mum of two, so you can really resonate with her. So today, I would like to introduce Pollyanna Hale.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on.
How are you today? You good?
I'm very well, thank you. As I said, kids are all at school and nursery today, so peaceful in Hale.
Brilliant. So just for our audience who perhaps haven't heard of you, not quite sure what you do, just sort of give us a 60-second overview of what you do.
Okay, well, with my company, thefitmumformula.com, I help busy and frustrated mums get their body and their body confidence back and escape the diet trap through online coaching.
Brilliant. I love how you've just said there about the trap and escaping that trap, because it seems to be a thing that most mums, most women even can fall into.
Yeah, they certainly do. They try one thing after the next, and whether it's they don't stick with it or whether it doesn't work, I think it's probably a combination of the two. But needless to say, they seem to be on this endless roll of trying diet after diet, and nothing seems to be working. So what we really want, and what I know you guys want as well, is people to get out of that cycle and just get back into something more long term they can maintain.
Well, that's it, because I find as well, people, it's not that they don't have patience, but it's like they just want the quick fixes. So if the one thing doesn't work, they go on to the next thing, but they don't really realise what they're doing to their bodies.
No, absolutely. I think it's partly human nature. We're not very patient, and we're not interested in just being told to eat normal food, eat healthily, eat not too much of it, eat mostly wholesome food. That's a really boring, tedious answer, and I appreciate that. But unfortunately, I wish there was a pill. I wish there was a quick fix, because I'd use it as well. But there isn't. But that's not to say that just a general healthy approach to living and something you can do long term is boring. It just means it is a longer term, steadier approach, and there isn't unfortunately a quick fix.
So exactly. And so when you start working with these women, they've obviously got this mentality that they want the quick fixes. They've tried it all, and they're possibly even coming to you thinking that what you're going to do is probably just going to do the same thing. How do you sort of change that mindset, and how do you sort of work with them to get out of that diet mentality then?
Well, one thing that I do talk about a lot is I actually talk about the fact that I'm not interested in quick fixes, and anybody who wants a quick fix, anybody who wants a detox or to lose weight really, really quickly, or to go on some fad, some short-term program, I'm just not interested. And if that's what they're looking for, then they're not the right person to work with me. And I do explain to people also that I don't just hand out straightforward meal plans, because there is absolutely no way I know how their body is going to respond, and it's going to take a little bit of trial and error to figure out what's working for them. But if they can do that, it's worth it in the end, because then they figured out the perfect plan that works for their body, and they can maintain that and adjust that as they go along through life.
Yeah, we absolutely agree with that. The amount of times that people come to us for meal plans, and we have always said there is no one meal plan, because everyone is completely different. Everyone's body reacts to different foods. So it's like you said, you need to give it time. You need to see what foods kind of work for you, but also the foods that you kind of enjoy, so it fits the lifestyle.
Absolutely. That's the other reason I'm really reluctant to give out meal plans. I say, look, I don't know. Okay, we can discuss about the foods that you actually dislike and the ones you're intolerant to and that kind of thing. But even within then, what happens if you've got something specific on your meal plan to eat, and for whatever reason you can't get to the shops, especially mums, we're so busy, we can't always get out of the house, kids get sick, and sometimes it's a case of looking in the fridge and having to just pick something that's in there. And if you don't have the knowledge to be able to make that educated decision and to be able to think on the spur of the moment and make good decisions without any forward planning, then you're really, really going to struggle, because you just cannot follow. It's just impractical. You cannot follow a strict meal plan for life. And if anybody does want just a template to get them started and really get them kick-started. I will not give anything longer than a week long. I say, right, I want you to try this for a week. That's it. And regardless of whether you actually lose weight or not, all we're going to do is see how it works within your life, see what you like about it, see what you don't like about it, assess it, and then we'll think about how we can implement those likes and dislikes and pros and cons into something a little bit more long term, because then we've got something to work from there. We've got some information to go on.
Yeah, I love that. And also, we often say to, especially the mums that we work with, if they're looking for a meal plan, how would they feel if their child was feeling like they had to eat specific foods all the time and they had to avoid social occasions? They couldn't eat foods that they enjoyed. It would almost be, they're not practicing what they preach. They wouldn't want their child to do that.
Well, again, that's another thing that's very specific to parents as well. Anyone in a family. I mean, it's all very well seeing these cookie cutter or even, real custom made, really strict meal plans about eating certain foods on certain times, certain meals. And it's okay if you're a single person or even just a couple and you're just cooking for yourself. That's very simple. You can stop by the shops on the way from home, get exactly what you want. Family members don't do that. We make family meals, we eat together, not always, but even if you're not, sometimes we're just cooking the same things. You have to keep it simple. So it has to be something that works within family life when you're working with mums.
Yeah, exactly. And then something that we found as well, when we don't all sit together and have a meal, say our daughter will see us eat, she will then sort of get put off her meals, and then we find that like she starts to get like a relationship with food where she doesn't want to eat her food because she possibly hasn't seen us eat it. So it's really important for us to have it together.
Definitely. And when we only had Aurora, we used to eat together as much as possible. Now we've got the two of them and they're both at school and nursery together. They tend to, during the week, eat a little bit earlier than us, but quite often it's the same thing that we'd be having later on. And certainly on weekends and on Friday evenings, we all try and eat together as much as possible. I mean, when you've got two, it's sometimes you are juggling between clubs and stuff like that, but as much as possible, we do eat together. They really enjoy the social aspect. They see what we're eating. They're encouraged to do the same things us. We let them help themselves, and we don't put pressure on them we don't try and demonize foods or force them into eating certain things and make that food the enemy. And it's a really enjoyable experience, and it's really important for family life and for children to understand that food is a nice part of life. Food is not the enemy.
Exactly. And do you find that sometimes when you work with certain women, they have they perceive certain types of food as like an enemy, whether it's like carbs or sugar? It's like this sort of, you need to avoid something, whatever the media is telling you.
Yeah, it's really hard. Again, it's one of those things that the brain struggles to do, is to be able to see things on a grey scale. People like to know that it's either black or white. And they say, oh, I mustn't eat sugar. I mustn't eat a chocolate biscuit. Chocolate biscuits are bad. Chocolate cake's bad. Pizza's bad. And I said, well, hang on a second. If you were in a third world country absolutely starving, a Mars bar might actually save your life. So you have to have a little bit of perspective. And it's not about necessarily things being bad. It's just that some things are more nutritious than others, and you should have them in smaller or larger amounts than others. But no one thing is going to kill you unless you've got a severe allergy to something. Having the occasional treat is really not going to hurt you, your health, or your weight loss if it's just in the right amounts. It just has to be relevant to your life and relevant and in perspective to the rest of your diet as well.
I love that, because often when you deprive yourself of a food as well, it takes the enjoyment out of it. Also can make you want more of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think people, the one thing people struggle with is, again, going back to keeping things in perspective to the rest of your diet, knowing what a treat is and what's not a treat. They see some things as something they can have. They might think it's normal to have something every day, and then it loses its appeal because they're having it so often. Whereas if they just had, say, treat foods just on a weekend or on special occasions, they'd really enjoy those, and they wouldn't feel guilty about them either, and they'd know that that's absolutely perfectly acceptable to have some birthday cake. It's perfectly acceptable to have other things, but these things are treats. So again, it comes down to making it fit into your life in a way that's not destructive in any way.
Brilliant. I love that. And it's the exact same message that we deliver. It's not avoiding food, it's understanding. It's more knowledge that people need rather than confusion, which can often be found when you look out there. Everyone's given different pieces of advice and there's no real, what do I do? They don't know exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, I think the media doesn't help this. I know, having worked with journalists quite a lot, often get approached to help out with articles. And one thing that journalists love and the media love is they like extreme stories. They don't like to be told, okay, have this, but only once or twice a week. They like to be told all or nothing, extreme diets. I even wrote a book on weight loss years and years ago and self-published it. And the reason it didn't go down so well with mainstream publishers is they said, look, we appreciate that everything you're saying is brilliant, but it's just not extreme enough. They wanted me to be saying, eat chocolate cake for breakfast and cucumber the rest of the day. It had to be something ridiculous and extreme, else it wasn't going to get the attention that they needed to sell a book. And I thought that's a real shame, because that's exactly the approach that is really derailing everyone, confusing everybody. They need to get back to the basics, but unfortunately the media isn't interested in the basics because it doesn't sell papers.
That's crazy, because it's really important. I mean, I've learned from my own experience that you need to kind of have a good relationship with food. So longer term, like how you what you put in your body is you're showing how much you value yourself as well. It's like the choices that you make.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that I find, the more I get into talking to people and trying to really dig deep, at first people say, oh, I just want to lose weight. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. Possibly you do need to lose weight, but why have we got this unhealthy relationship with food? Why are you overeating? And I delve in, and it always comes down to there's something psychological going on that's stopping them from looking after their own body. Because if you disrespect your body, if you don't have a good relationship with your body, you won't feel inclined to look after it. And it's amazing, actually. I put a picture up on I think it was Instagram a while ago, and it was a picture side by side of the kids snacks at a toddler group next to the grown-up snacks. And the kids snacks were things like breadsticks, chopped up pieces of fruit, and then the grown-up snack were all these big stodgy cakes. And I thought, what's going on here? We're really happy to put the effort into our children because we love and care for them and hope we want them to be the best and healthiest version of themselves. And yet when it comes to our own health, we tend to completely disregard that. And why is it that we can't look after ourselves and respect our bodies when we can with our children? And I think when you compare it to how you look after your kids, you sort of think, oh, actually, hang on a second, I'm really not looking after myself. And a lot of people do it from a position of hating their body, and they go on these extreme diets because they hate the way they look, they hate the way they feel. Where actually, if they did it from an approach of loving their body and caring for it, suddenly eating healthily wouldn't be a punishment. It would be because you're looking after yourself, you're nurturing your body.
Yeah, and we often say that you need to love the body you've got now before you can love the body you aspire to have, because you're never going to find that worth, even if you get to that body that you think you want, unless you've got that self-love in place at the start, you're never going to gain it. You're just going to have a body that's got the body that you had, but you hate it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it comes down to your approach. It could be almost eating exactly the same thing, but are you doing it because you're punishing your body, or are you doing it because you love your body? And those two approaches can have a vastly different outcome, because if you're doing it because you're trying to punish your body because you hate it, you're going to be resentful of what you're doing, resentful of yourself. You're going to be resentful of all the things you have to do every day, of your workouts, of your cooking healthy meals. You're just going to hate it. If you're doing it because you're doing it from a positive point of view, all of those things are a means to an end, and you start to enjoy them because you're really feeling the benefits of them.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just, they're poles apart, and they might physically look the same, but mentally they're poles apart, and the longevity of them is completely different as well. Of course, if they're doing it because they love it, it's a long-term thing. They're not going to just have these quick fixes that will last forever because they've got
exactly. If you're feeling good physically and you're feeling good mentally, and it's working for you and it's working within your life, you're not going to be inclined to give it up. You want to carry that on. If you're really not enjoying what you're doing, not feeling the benefits of it, then that's when you're going to give up, and that's what happens.
Yeah, so I mean, we've talked quite a lot there about it. Would you say that food's the one thing that you find most of the women that you work with struggle with?
It's a bit of both. I think when it comes down to exercise, it's finding the time. And I know you'll understand this as parents. Suddenly, when you become a parent, time has a very different concept. And anyone who's not a parent has, with no disrespect, has absolutely no clue what it's like to have children. And suddenly your time is just not your own anymore. Yeah. And that's where you have to, and you will never ever get to the bottom of your to-do list. Let's get that straight. Once you have children, that just never happens.
The more you do, the more there is to do.
Exactly. There's always something to do. So the only thing you can do when it comes to creating time for yourself as a parent is just prioritizing it and saying, do you know what? If I'm going to do this workout, I am going to have to ignore the dishes. You know, hanging up the washing is going to have to wait. But that's fine. You can do it later. You can do it afterwards. You'll always get round to doing that stuff because it has to be done. If you attempt to do the washing and the dishes before, you might find you run out of time to do the workout, and then that workout never happens. And I always tell people you have to set aside some time. Look at your diary. It's going to be different for everyone and your routine and when you feel at your best and your schedule. Look in your diary, figure out, find just half an hour. All my workouts are only half an hour long anyway. Half an hour, 3 times a week, where you can fit this in. Put it in your diary like you would a meeting and stick to it. It doesn't matter if the phone rings. It doesn't matter if the washing up needs doing. If the kids want something, they also, you know, unless they're in danger, it's fine for them to learn. Yep, sure, you can have that. Just give me 20 minutes and then whatever it is you want, you can have it. But they got to learn they can wait as well, and actually they won't mind. They'll get used to it, and they will learn that if mummy gets this time to have to herself and do her workout and do her thing for herself, afterwards mummy is actually a better mummy. And my kids know that very well. They know if I'm doing a workout, they've got to wait. When the workout's over, you know, I'm all theirs again, and they're fine with that.
That's it. And it's like good for the children also to see like their mum doing something for themselves as well, because the likelihood is they're then going to, you know, value themselves as well as they get older because their mum did that.
Yeah, totally. They copy us and they copy everything we do, and they learn from us because we are their role models. Obviously the line is what you want for children to do is have a healthy attitude towards exercise and food yourself. But when I discuss things like exercise with the kids, we talk about how it makes them feel, how it gives them more energy. We always walk to school and we see other people driving and like, what? This is a really nice time for us. We're getting some fresh air, we're getting some sunlight. He wakes us up in the morning, we get to have a little chat, we all hold hands, and it's really lovely. We don't talk about it in terms of getting fit or burning calories or anything like that, because I want kids to have this, you know, be able to enjoy exercise and be able to enjoy activity just because it makes their life better. I don't want them to see it as a punishment.
Yeah, our little one's always asking if she can take the dog out.
Brilliant.
I think it's like you said as well, it's about when you prioritize things, and we often say to our clients is if you don't do the dishes or if you don't do that pile of washing straight away, what actually happens? Nothing. They're not, you know, they're worrying about something that if it was done half an hour later, that it's not the end of the world. Nobody's going to die and everyone's going to be okay. And them getting their workout in is going to benefit them and everyone around them. So there's so many pros and no cons to leaving it for half an hour.
Absolutely. And when they're tired as well, I say, well, actually, funnily enough, when you're exercising and eating well, you're going to have more energy. So you're going to be able to, all those tasks that you've got to do, you'll be able to do them faster, more productively. You'll be able to work faster, more productively. You won't be losing time. You won't be losing that half an hour, because when you get back to all the things you've got to do, whether that's work or household chores or whatever, you'll be able to do them much more better because you've got more energy.
I love that approach. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, a really good way.
It's true, though. It's true. Yeah, it's probably been quite a while since you've been unhealthy and inactive. But if you think how productive you are when you're feeling good in yourself, you can just achieve so much more in less time.
Yeah, I love it. Brilliant. I mean, so if you were to just give like women that are struggling with their confidence, perhaps with their weight, and you were to only be able to give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say don't do it alone, because people wind themselves up. They tell themselves messages that aren't true. And there's so much, there's so many studies done on peer support, and it's why even these weight loss clubs that I don't wholly agree with. It's the reason one of the benefits of them is you've got this peer support. It gives you accountability, motivation, just being around people who are encouraging you and keeping you motivated and keeping you on track. It's just invaluable. It's just having people around you to turn to. It really, really does make a difference. All of a sudden, even if it's just if you're part of a Facebook group, just seeing those posts every day suddenly reminds you, oh yes, so there's other people doing this too, and it kind of subconsciously goes, yeah, I can do this because other people are doing this too, and if I'm struggling, I can always ask for help and ask for support. And it really, really does make a difference, because most people, as we said earlier, you said, Brian, most people don't need more information. They know what they've got to do. They know they've got to eat less junk food. They know they've got to move a bit more. They know they've got to eat more fruit and veg. It's just making themselves do it. And I think if you've got other people around you encouraging those habits, you just are more likely to do them.
Yeah, we're the same. We believe in that as well. And also we find that the ladies will see, oh, actually, this lady who's made awesome results was just where I am. And then it's like they have even like positive thoughts about themselves then and then, because they think, do you know what, I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so motivating. And I always encourage, both in my free group and also my members group as well on Facebook, I say, look, guys, when you've got results, tell me how you're doing. How are you doing this week? How are you feeling? Show me a picture of that healthy meal you've eaten, because it's not so much that they're accountable to me, and that's part of it, but also when other people see them doing something positive, they're encouraged as well.
Yeah, and that makes it's once you've got that camaraderie as well, it almost, people don't want to lose that, and you lose that touch and you go alone. It feels very lonely, and it can be a horrible place, because you're never sure where to look for inspiration or support, because you go into the big wide world where you're not around peers. There's so many confusing messages. When you've got that group or that little community that you're part of, you know that you're all following the same thing.
Plus it's real life.
That's it. And you forget as well, I mean, you might know what you're doing, and then you go off track a little bit. You see something in a magazine that's telling you something completely different, completely conflicting, and you're just completely confused again, and you don't know where to turn, or, oh, maybe I should be trying this, maybe I should be doing that instead. Whereas if you've got someone to turn to, you can say, hey, look, I read this, is that true? Or somebody told me that this is working. Do you think I should try it? And if you've got people, either it's professionals or other people in the group, to bounce ideas back off, it can just help reassure you so that you're either doing the right thing, or you need to consider, have to stop and think about what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And I mean, we're just going to try and round it up a little bit now. So we always have a fun question that we like to finish off with, and it's, what's one question that we didn't ask you that we should have asked you?
Oh, that's a tough one. One is, what do I know now that I didn't know earlier about coaching? Is, I think when I first delved into the fitness world, I thought that people needed, again, more information. I was trying to help people, saying that these are the kind of foods you need to eat, this is the kind of exercise you need to do. And actually, as I've moved along, I've realized that people don't need that. They've got tons of that, and to be honest, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And whatever plan they pick, if they're just starting out, most plans will get most people some results, at least to start. What people are needing, they're needing peers, they need accountability, they need motivation, support, advice, and reassurance. And that is what people are looking for in a coach. And that is what I aim to do primarily with all my clients, is just support them and help them through the process of finding out for themselves how that they can be the best they can be.
I love it. It sounds very similar to the way that we work. And it's like you said, people can get drowned in information now. It's so easily available. It's rammed down your throat from Facebook ads, Google ads, everywhere. No matter where you go, you're getting advertised at for weight loss things, and they've all got conflicting interests. It can be too much information and you're not sure what to do.
Yeah.
Also, it shows as well that, everyone starts off somewhere. So, you may see someone who's had these amazing results, but they were just starting off where people are now. So it's kind of good to show that accountability and support, and the other women are going to provide that as well.
Yeah, definitely. You've got people who have been with you for a while, and they're much further along the line, and they seem to be in the flow a little bit, and maybe they're still a client, but they're just there really just to keep themselves accountable and keep themselves ticking along and progressing. And then you get new people coming to the group just going, where do I start? What do I do? I have no idea. And you get the older members chipping in and saying, well, this really worked for me. This was really helpful, and Polly showed me this, and why don't you try that? And it's great that they all support each other like that.
Yeah, it's yeah, I love it. It's the same as the way that we work, and it does. Once you've got that community, it really eases people into it, and you've got that familiar face almost straight away because it's somebody that has been where you are.
Yeah, great bonds building up. That's the downside. That's one thing I'm going to look into in future is face-to-face meetups, trying to get everyone together in one place at some point. Obviously, like you guys, being online, it's a bit difficult because you've got people sort of dotted around the country. Yeah. All over the place, and again, being mums as well, even a half day, trying to get out, find that childcare would be challenging. But at some point, I'm going to try and make it work, make it happen.
Love it. So, how can our listeners find out a little bit more about you and what you do?
Okay, well, the website is www.thefitmumformula.com, and then on Facebook we've got the pages at the Fit Mum Formula, or my personal profile is at Pollyanna Hale, and anyone is welcome to contact me anytime there. I've got my email address as well, polly@thefitmumformula.com, and everyone's welcome to get in touch. I reply to all my messages and emails personally, not always straight away, but certainly within a few days I get back to every single person. So anyone wants to find out more or just say hi, I love hearing from people, or just get some feedback on the podcast. It'd be great.
We will put all of Pollyanna's links on our podcast notes at hodgsonfitness.com/podcast. Pollyanna, it's been absolutely amazing having you on board, and I know that people are going to take a lot of value away from what you've delivered today, and it's been an honour to have you today.
Oh, it's been great fun. Thank you. I love getting on and talking shop. It's great fun, and I'm so passionate about it as you guys are. It's just great being able to get the chance to talk to people who are really in the same mindset as you about wanting to help people.
Yeah,
definitely. And ladies, please, anyone who is listening, you find that you're struggling, if you're a mum, you're struggling to put everything together, you want to find that relationship with food, but also with yourself, please check out Polly. And see what all the info that she's giving out. You'll really resonate with her. So again, Polly, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Polly.
Thanks, guys.